Welcome to the TokenMarket.net podcast. I am your host, Gavin Knight. Thank you for tuning in. Check out our site for digital asset research, a calendar of upcoming events, and many future upcoming releases. Our podcast features team members of projects in the cryptocurrency space to help shed light on their developments. Just because a project is on our podcast doesn't mean we recommend investment, so always research and engage wisely. All right, I'm here with Patrick Long, co-founder and COO of WeTrust.io. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how you came to Ethereum and cryptocurrencies? What brought you to this industry? What excites you?
Yeah, happy to talk a little bit about my background. I went to UC Berkeley. I graduated with a degree in economics. Soon after college, I worked for a few years where I earned my CPA. After that, I worked for a company called RMS, and they specialize in insurance modeling. I didn't do the crazy stuff, exciting stuff. I was working more on the accounting and financial reporting side. But through this experience, I saw the inefficiencies of how financial markets worked, and I wanted to reduce the friction there. So that sort of sparked my interest, and I did more research on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, and I got started investing in crowd sales in late 2015 and 2016. I met George through a college roommate. He rented a room from George, and after a couple of beers, we were talking about investing strategies, and in 2016, we did pretty well. You can probably see the Ethereum price, and we worked on a couple other cryptocurrency crowd sales. They also did pretty well, participated in Lisk among some others. And so overall, it's been pretty successful, and it gave us sort of the experience about what's going on in this ecosystem. So we decided to start WeTrust together. So now we are a fairly large team. We have about 6 full-time folks working on the development of the code. And, we've, released our prototype MVP. So, the public can definitely learn more and play with it.
So obviously there's a lot of options. What do you like about Ethereum? What is it that really fits the model that you're building?
Yeah, so Ethereum is a decentralized world computer, right? That can't be interfered with. I think that's a very core idea. It's very versatile. There's lots of developers supporting it. And at least here in the Silicon Valley, there's a lot of meetups, a lot of people that have very, very good experience. And I think that's what started us, going down this path with Ethereum, because just the rich community support. I think that's very important, because some of the other ones, the other cryptocurrencies don't have as much support, and it's hard to get a hold of people. It's hard to find interested developers. So that's why we decided to choose Ethereum. Now, that being said, I don't think it's the perfect solution. We're writing our code in a way that's sort of blockchain agnostic. So our dev team definitely, if better solution comes up in the future, potentially could port our code over to a more sustainable system.
Yeah, as much as we talk about ICOs, I am still very much interested in Bitcoin, and I think rootstock is an interesting case. So by portable or agnostic, do you mean something like rootstock potentially?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it'd be worth investing significant resources to port over to a more sustainable system if a system does arise.
Well, I think Ethereum and rootstock will be sustainable, and there's interesting options in both and deploying in both. But it's good that you guys have an open vision, because the market changes all the time. So tell me about the WeTrust token. Obviously, you're asking people to invest in the ICO. What's the value? Why do you think that this will do well on the market, and what's the usability?
Yeah, sure. So the WeTrust token represents the fees that are being transacted on the platform. It's not a dividend or something like that. Rather, it's more of a fuel coin, something similar to Ethereum's Ether. So in Ethereum's case, when you need to deploy a smart contract, when you need to send Ether tokens around, you have to pay some sort of fuel cost. the trust coin will be something similar to that. The overall idea is if you're an individual that facilitates trust on the network, you get compensated in trust coin. And if you're somebody that requires trust from others, you would pay in trust coin.
So let's say I'm structuring lending, and we'll get into how this works. The interest will be distributed with the WeTrust token, and then obviously, as it's added to exchanges, you'll be able to convert it to various other assets if you so desire. Is that basically for someone investing? Is that basically kind of the life cycle there?
Hmm. And so that means the overall value of the trust coin will be derived from the usage of the platform. So the more the platform is used, and obviously that's our big vision, right? We want lots and lots of people to use this and save and lend amongst their community. The value of trust coin, it will be derived from that.
And you mentioned Rosca.
Hmm.
Um, we'll get into that acronym, and also circles of lending. So
Hmm.
trying to build trust between a circle of friends or a circle of trusted entities, which I think for now, because there isn't a decentralized credit agency, is a good way to go. Can you talk a little bit about how you came up with that idea and what ROSCA means?
Yeah, so ROSCA stands for Rotating Savings and Credit Associations. That's the most official term that's used in the United States. But around the world, this concept um, goes under the guise of many different names. So in India, it's called chit funds. In China, it's called hui. In Latin America, it's called tandas, cunitas. This savings concept where you save amongst the community goes under many, many different names, but it has the same overall structure where, close friends pool money together, set designated amount of time, let's say every month, and the person that needs it the most, and they would represent their need in many different ways, right? Some communities might do it in a vote. Some communities, like India, for example, India's chit funds does it in a form of a reverse auction. So the person that essentially offers the group the most competitive interest rate gets the pot for that month. And after they've won, they can't win anymore. So they just have to keep contributing for a set period of time. That's the overall gist of this.
Right. And how do we establish trust between individuals? And I understand, let, let's say this is a work in progress. How would you recommend? So for me personally, I've been in Bitcoin for a while, and
Hmm.
I've come across people. I could list five people that I would say, I trust pretty significantly.
Hmm.
And of course, there's services like Bitrated and others. How would you recommend people establish trust, um, in order to fulfill these loans and get them paid back? Will you have sort of a FAQ, or will you have sort of a process there?
Hmm. So the first iteration of what we want to create will be limited and it's only invite only, right? So the first product we imagine it to be um, just sort of like an automation and accounting tool to make what's going on a lot easier. So, your close friends, your close family that you would lend money to, regardless of whether or not the system exists, those are the people that we want to get on. Um, and this is just merely a way to make it so much easier, right? So rather than gathering together every month and bringing the money, literally the money, physical money, and putting it around the table, we don't need to do that. We can use a cryptocurrency to facilitate that, right? Rather than yelling over each other and raising your hand to express your vote that you need the money this month, you could do it on our platform. So that's the first use case. And then obviously, I think when you start to invite people you don't trust fully 100%, future features need to be integrated, right? Something like potentially e-signing, right? So you can digitally bind each other to a legal contract or potentially putting out collateral, right? So many different ways when we start to bring on people that we don't trust fully. But the first iteration, and you can see this in our MVP, we've done this. You can send out an email invite to all your close friends, and they would get invited into this savings pool. but it's invite only, so you're not going to have some random person you don't know so well.
Yeah, so um, uh, we don't need to go in detail if this is still in works, but with Yelp and things like that, over time in a decentralized, even though it's a centralized platform, people contribute and a star rating is given. So let's
Hmm.
say you and I are doing loans, and uh, maybe or let's user X is doing loans that they don't pay back, and can I rate them, and can that affect their ability to use the system, or is it very difficult at the moment to establish who's who because basically it's an Ethereum address?
So I guess for the identity portion, we're looking to, find partners to develop this because I don't think this is the core competency of our product, right? Our core, in my view, the core competency of WeTrust is simply grouping people together in a transparent manner where people are not incentivized to cheat because their reputation is on the line, right? So when a group of close friends get together, the person that misses a payment for a particular month will look bad, right? Because it's transparent. Everybody in that group sees that they've essentially stole from the group, right? So everybody wants to keep contributing. Does that sort of answer your question?
Well, yeah, I think it's where you're at now. So,
Hmm.
I think it's good to get your thoughts. So let's see. One good thing, and I wrote a little bit of a blog on our site. If you want to dig it up, it's just 10 ways to evaluate a project.
Hmm.
Number one is it's up there, number one, three, whatever. Do they have a GitHub? Do
Hmm.
they have a
We
proof
have
of
that.
concept? Look, this is we're looking at a percentage of all sales, right? Like these things. If they have a GitHub with code, big plus.
Hmm.
If they have a proof of concept, even better. So why don't you talk about where GitHub is and what the proof of concept is, basically, in terms of how functional is this proof of concept?
Sure. Yeah. So the proof of concept is at Rosca, ROSCA dot WeTrust, WETRUST.com. And you can access it on any Ethereum enabled browser, so Mist or Chrome with a MetaMask extension. And it's the very, very basic bare bones of what we want to build. And it shows essentially, you can create an account,
And
you can
wait,
invite.
let me just say, wetrust.io,
Yeah,
right?
sorry, yeah, Dio.
Oh,
I
but continue. I'm just saying in case I just
That's a good
tested.
catch.
But yeah, so let's continue. What is this the Rosca proof of concept?
Sure, yeah. So you can invite your close friends. You can put in their emails. It gathers everybody together. As long as you have MetaMask installed on a Chrome browser or using Mist, you're going to be able to interact with the network, and it essentially captures all the things we've talked about of what a Rosca actually is. It allows you to invite all your friends, contribute the ether, and make a bid every set period. And the person with the most competitive bid gets the pot for that particular month. And this is all live on the Ethereum mainnet. And we actually got the smart contract audited by Zeppelin. So they took a look at it and gave an opinion. And I think Demi made a comment saying this is one of the best code he's ever read, and they've audited Golem and First Blood, a bunch of projects. So I think he's going to be publishing that live very shortly, so the community can definitely take a look at their findings and what they think about what we wrote.
Yeah, and if some of our listeners aren't familiar with MetaMask, I got the pleasure of being friends with him far before the creator, Kumavis. Um, Basically, what it allows you to do is have interaction between websites with Ethereum so that you can use Ethereum through a web platform, which is great. It's really increasing usability. So that means um, WeTrust can create a web application and you install this, I guess, browser extension, and then you can interact directly. And I know a big problem with Ethereum projects has been how do I interact? Do I need Mist? Do I need to know command line? So I'm just educating our users. You can look up, I think, metamask.io, and this is great that you guys are working with that. So why don't you talk a little bit about the team and advisors that you have in place?
Yeah, so the team consists of myself And I already talked briefly about my background. The CEO, George, he's a product manager at Google for a number of years, worked at McKinsey. He has a master's from Stanford and he has a computer engineering degree from Rutgers. Our platform architect, Ron, is leading, writing all the smart contracts. On the front end side, we have Tom Nash. He's based out of the UK, but very, very competent guy. He's the one that's been, doing the demos of the MVP and then helping design the website and everything. Mifsam, she works on the research partnership side, helping us write our white paper. On Zhang, he's our web dev, very, very competent guy as well. Leon D, he works on the product marketing side. And then we have a couple other community managers that, can translate all the stuff that we've been working with so it gets out to the greater community. On the advisor side, Vitalik Boshen is helping us with the China market as well as overall infrastructure. Eamon Goon, I don't know if you guys heard of him, but he's Cornell professor, pretty prominent in the crypto community. Michael Casey, Michael Hexner, founded a couple of startups here in the Bay Area. He's helping with the business strategy. Benedict, another blockchain advisor, and Daniel Kari helps with the marketing. So for legal, we also have Fenny. She has a JD from Columbia University, very, very smart, and she's working on a fintech startup right now, so helping us with all the legal stuff that we have to deal with. So overall, very competent team and very excited to deliver a wonderful product.
Yeah, so I've heard of some of these people, but another thing I recommend is looking into the team. I'm sure you have LinkedIn and links there on your page, wetrust.io. So it's good. It's good that you have put together a team. I'm going to throw you kind of a hardball. What's the biggest challenge WeTrust has? Obviously, you're raising funding. I assume it's going to development. What is the biggest challenge you have in fully, fleshing out this platform?
Yeah, so I think as with all crypto projects or any project in general is the go-to-market, right? Going to market when you're creating something that's essentially very, very new technology is, with all projects, very difficult. So I think we are a part of Launch. It's a UC Berkeley's accelerator program, and they're sort of mentoring us and trying to help us get into our first audiences. So they're helping us refine the business model we've created and then trying to go directly and interview potential customers and seeing what they like, they dislike. Market we want to go in first are immigrant communities in the Silicon Valley. So think of your Indian or Chinese or whoever's engineer at Google or Facebook, whoever, somebody that's very technologically savvy that can understand what we're doing, but yet also have the cultural roots and they've heard of this saving and lending concept in their home country. So we're working with lots of brilliant people and trying to develop a product that they can definitely use.
So obviously with this type of project, it's important to build grassroots, or I like to say just community, people involved. And I assume Slack, there's a Telegram WeTrust platform, t.me/WeTrust platform. Slack is probably the best way, but what kind of things are you looking for from the community? Are you looking for people to get involved, to be ambassadors, to ask questions? How can people that are interested in this beyond just investing become, initial ambassadors and supporters of this project?
Sure. I think we all have communities in which we're a part of, and our platform essentially lets you collect capital significantly easier, right? You don't have to meet together in person anymore. You can literally pool all your funds together on our platform and then redistribute it to people in need. So in any organization that needs that function, we can help them do that. So I guess spreading the word and evangelizing our platform by saying, maybe in the next community meeting, whatever group that you're in, raise your hand and say, hey, I found out this cool method that we can save and lend amongst each other, so much easier than we used to, right? We don't have to put it in a spreadsheet anymore or trust one person to hold all the funds and hope they just redistribute it back to others, right? There's now this new platform that's running on Ethereum um, completely autonomous that can help us do that. I think just having that small announcement amongst all these tight communal groups would be wonderful.
Right. And obviously on Bitcoin Talk, there's some opportunities. So we're coming up on the sale date, but check that out. All the links are on wetrust.io. Why don't you tell us what the terms of the sale are, how many coins you're giving away, um, how you plan to budget the money in brief, and the sort of long-term strategy for this raise. Do you think that it's going to be enough to sustain you guys there for ideally a year or two?
Yeah, so in terms of the sale, we're selling 100 million, or sorry, we have a total of 100 million tokens with no inflation. 80 million tokens will be distributed to token sale participants. Um, and essentially you can contribute, and based off of the allocation, the percentage you've contributed of the total, that will be the number of trust coins that you get. 10 million will be reserved for the founding team and the advisors, and this amount will vest over 2 years. 8 million will be reserved for the nonprofit organization for future, um, expenses and recruiting teams, etc. 2 million trust coins will be reserved for bounties, and part of these will be the Bitcoin Talk bounties. We're going to do bug bounties, all that good stuff. The bonus schedule. So we're starting the sale on March 1st, and participants on the first day will have 30% bonus. First on the first week you'll have 25%, 20% on the second week, et cetera, et cetera, and essentially cascading 5% all the way until the sixth week where there's no bonus.
Let me just say, okay, there have been a number of sales, and uh, you have some advisors that sound uh, like they've invested in Ethereum and such. Is there any pre-sale script? Is there a way to say, I really want to get involved, and if this closes quickly, I can? Or is it basically just, check right when it starts and try to get that bonus? What would you recommend? Because, a lot of people listening to this, various audience, maybe they want to put point 0.1, point 0.5, whatever, but they've missed out on the Melonport, First Blood, and a number of others. And I really do think that you have that potential. So, what advice would you give for those, small time speculators to get in this sale?
So on this note, I think we want it to be fair and open for everybody. So in that sense, we aren't accepting any, pre-funding type of pre-ICO type of commitments. It's just free for all, and the people that come in on the first day, first week, second week, etc., it's going to be first come, first served. So yeah, that's the methodology that we took as a team. We want to be very fair and transparent to all. So we're not taking any upfront money. We're not taking any of that. Everything is, the terms as stated.
Right, right. But let me just say, if you're really interested in this sale, look at still sorting out the exact time zone and everything. Um, might be worth, signing in right when it's starting and putting a little in. I'm not, I never give a straight vouch for investment, but if it's something that you're interested, just keep in mind that a lot of the ETH projects have gone very quickly. Um, and other than that, it will hit the market, and there'll be chances. I assume, Bittrex, maybe Poloniex, and things like that. There'll be chances to get involved in the future for speculators, and then hopefully people will start using it for Ethereum lending. So, anyways, that's my sum up, and I just want to make sure I cover all the different people listening. So, excited about the project in the sense that there's a GitHub, there's a proof of concept. These are really important things to me. There's a lot of research there, and I wish you guys the best. I hope everything goes well. And we're in a similar area, so I hope we can grab coffee sometime.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Thanks for all your time today, Gavin.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I know you guys are busy.